It's coming home on Hollywood Balls. Well, no, he is home. Barry Ashworth's back in the house. It's absolutely brilliant to have him. What a ledge. Star of Dub Pistols. Can't wait. He's going to be the first talking about Scotland and England and all sorts of other things. So let's get cracking.
How are you, Geordie Pete and George the Spud, I believe?
Yeah. How are you, Barry?
All right, mate. All right. Very good.
Nice to hear from you.
Enjoy that Scotland game?
No, I wanted Scotland.
Sorry, guys. Yep, I wanted Scotland to give a better performance, George, and we were just literally, Barry and I were just discussing. It wasn't great for them, was it?
Well, they need a goal scorer, but you got to take your hats off for 2 goals. You can't really blame Scotland too much for those goals. I mean, that second goal was a belter.
That's going to be goal of the tournament straight away, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that was Beckham-esque, wasn't it? His final.
Yeah.
I want to welcome the TFA family straight into the business, and if they don't know my good friend Barry Ashworth, just have a little look at this, because I think his music will be right up the street of our TFA community. Have a listen to this. You on the stage, Baz, where you love to be. You haven't been able to, and I know we're gonna touch on that in a bit. But it's just for our community to see, what a legend you actually are musically.
I'm not a real gangster, honestly.
Shawnee T is though, isn't he?
yeah, I'm a real gangster.
I love those reggae vibes, man.
Yeah. George, he's got all the vibes. Believe me. We first met in Dubai, and I was lucky enough to go to a gig on the beach to see Barry play. Just a showman who loves what he does. And again, this whole thing of guys like Barry not being able to play really, really affects people. But we're going to touch on that in a little bit. I want to talk to you, Barry. First of all, we touched on Scotland. What about England? What did you think about England's performance?
To be quite honest, it was Croatia they were playing. Croatia, as you know, they ain't a bad team. Now, I know you were disappointed with the performance. And when I looked at the lineup, I was really like, I couldn't believe he left Grealish out. There was so many others thought he'd made a bad mistake. And to be fair, they come away, they've got a result. They started the tournament well. So, it might be coming home.
Is it a win's a win, isn't it?
A win's a win. I thought we were the better team on the day. Like I said, it was against Croatia. I'll take it. I'll take 1-0. Yeah. Losing 2-0.
Yeah. Listen, it wasn't a great game. Croatia are a very difficult team to play against. You want to win your first game. Look at England. Look at Scotland. Who feels better now, right? Yeah,
totally. How will it feel on Friday as well? When as you say, George, it literally is. I watched the build-up, and I've got to say, I was rooting for Scotland as well, but they built it up so much today.
You wasn't.
I was.
No, I was. I was.
They were literally built themselves up, and I thought. I thought all of the commentary team were. They were beside themselves. They literally were beside themselves when Scotland went 2 down.
Yeah, listen. I thought Scotland had more chances, more good goal scoring opportunities than the Czech Republic. You just got, you don't score, you ain't going to win games, man. Simple.
Yeah, you got to. Yeah, go on, Barry.
I just didn't think it just didn't go for them today, did it? Like they had enough chances to get the ball in the back of the net. They had some really good chances, hitting the bar. I mean, the goalkeeper sticking his toe out. It just didn't feel like it was going to go in.
Yeah.
And to be honest, they weren't really totally outplayed. Just there was moments where the Czech Republic were, in the game and it got into a lull. But I thought generally Scotland didn't give that bad of a account of themselves. It just didn't go right. I mean, I was actually rooting for them. I know I shouldn't be, but I was. all the home nations to do well, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought Wales were much poorer last week than Scotland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally agree.
Yeah.
George, want to get you on talking about the game of the day for me today is later on. Spain and Sweden. What a great game in prospect there, right?
I would say a big shout out for the game of the tournament so far was last night. Netherlands, right, against Ukraine. What a cracking game. 2-0, 2-2, 5 minutes to go, boom, 3-2. So, yeah, Spain, Sweden, it's a new look Spanish team, not as much talent, much younger, more energy, pressing game. Yeah, it's going to be a cracker. I can't wait. I haven't missed the game yet. My wife is.
Well, no, you
she's
won't.
leaving. She's leaving me, man.
She's leaving. She'll be gone.
She left ages ago. You just haven't noticed. You've been watching.
I'll notice after the tournament.
Funnily enough, Barry, got to say, a good friend of yours has been messaging me, still WhatsApping me now, telling you know what's coming. Kev Campbell sends his best wishes. You're his nemesis on the old predictions, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean, we only had one go against each other, but he came up, poorly second, didn't he? Do you know what I mean? It was a woeful attempt by him. But I'm sure, Kev makes it better than me. Do you know what I mean? Luckily, he's not one of the falling gamblers, do you know? So otherwise, I'd say he's in trouble.
It's a tough crowd. Poor Kevin. He gets murdered. I mean,
hey, look, George,
Alex,
I'm going to say
Barry, me.
Yeah, but Lee Cosgrove as well.
Lee, of course. How can I forget Lee?
I mean, and he literally got the 3-0 the other night as well. He texted me straight away to tell me. Look, I'm going to tell you, Kev puts his heart on his sleeve, so he's got to take what he gets when he gets beat. And he's been getting beat quite a bit lately. I'm not going to talk about my predictions because mine were absolutely dreadful, but we'll leave that for another one. I am going to put you on the spot, though, George, for a Spain-Sweden prediction.
2-0, Spain.
Barry?
Yeah, I think exactly the same. I think it's 2-3-0 Spain.
Yeah.
Even though they're not the Spanish team they were, I think they've got way too much for Sweden at this stage. I mean, to be honest, I don't really know that much about the Swedish team at the moment, but I obviously recognise the Spanish team, and for well, it's a great league, and it might not be the team they were, but let's face it, that team they were was something very, very, very special.
You mentioned the Premier League. I'm going to have to come and do this to you because I know how upset you get. But as a massive Liverpool fan, and so many of our community are, it literally what happened this season.
I think everybody knows what happened this season. We lost Van Dijk early, and then we seemed to lose the whole team, and it affected the whole balance of play. I mean, we were still a few points clear Christmas, and then it just went on that awful run. I think the injuries really, really, really came on top. I think it just changed the whole dynamics of the team, and then the confidence had gone. And God knows how we crept into third because it was looking absolutely appalling. I was in tears thinking of Roy Hodgson at the time. Do you know what I mean? Right back to those days, I was like, "How has it gone so wrong?" But no, it's been a heartbreaking season, and part of the thing with going into the Euros, I really wasn't that fussed about it because I really just thought, we've had so many injuries. The last thing I need is our players going straight into another tournament, whether it's the Cup of Americas or whatever, or the Euros. I just thought, I just want our players to get a break and have a rest and come back next season and show people what we're worth because, it was pretty abysmal. Great end to the season. Delighted to have got, Champions League again, but, bitterly disappointed.
I mean, you've got to say, though, given the number of injuries, given the disruption, given the terrible run of poor form Liverpool had, it ended up being a successful season, qualifying for Champions League, really, right?
I think it's absolutely incredible. I think, going into it 4 weeks out, you would have said we were gone. We got a couple of players back and we just started grinding out some results. And, I'm delighted to have got third. But to be honest, I mean, you've got to admit there's not been a season like it, has there? I don't
very odd season. Weird. Yeah.
And it really does show you. And I do think actually the Liverpool supporters should be on £100,000 a week because they are worth it. Do you know what I mean?
Barry, mate.
There's no way Anfield without fans.
Barry, I can speak for Pete and me. If Liverpool fans should be on £100,000 a week, the clubs we support, our fans should be on £1 million a week. All right, Jesus.
No, what I mean is £100,000 because they're what they bring to the game.
Oh yes,
the amount of, that definitely picks us up points. Whereas if you look at West Ham, they should pay the fans to stay away because they're much better without them in the ground.
or Arsenal. Oh, where's Kevin when you need him?
Where's Kevin when you need him?
No, hang on. You can't compare West Ham fans to Arsenal fans. West Ham fans just moan. Arsenal fans are just silent.
Oh dear me, we're going to get into trouble today, aren't we?
Yeah, it's going to be a nightmare.
Although, listen, I will say that I'll take my hat off to David Moyes. What a great job he's done this season at West Ham, right?
And he's just got a new 4-year deal.
Yeah, he deserves it. He deserves it. I thought the Hammers were going to qualify for the Champions League at one point.
Well, it'll be interesting to see, like I said, because I do believe if the West Ham supporters were in that ground, that'll be on Moyes' back straight away. So it'll be interesting to see going into the season, getting some fans back in the ground, how it translates and whether or not it's true. Do you know what I mean? Because it is that if you get on the play, if you're going to get on the players' back, you've got to get behind your team. You've got to give the ball. And, and I just do think that's that they've been benefited from the lack of that.
I don't know. Most of my lot, Barry, we're all crazy Spurs fans. We just don't know what to make of Mr. Daniel Levy and Enoch. Oh God, it's
he's let you down. I mean, he's really, really let you down. What an incredible stadium. Letting Pochettino go and not backing him was just mind-boggling. And then the chosen one, do you know what I mean? Who just came up woeful, and to fire him a week before a cup final.
Listen, Daniel Levy said, Spurs' DNA is attacking football. Absolutely is. I don't hold it against Jose Mourinho, but why would you hire Jose Mourinho then, right? I don't know. I need therapy at this point.
I think Barry makes a really good point, though, George. I mean, if you think about it, if you watch back even the documentary, you've got, Pochettino took them all the way. Okay, they didn't win it, but they
were the best team.
Exactly. And now, where are you? That's the question you've got to ask. And stats don't lie, do they?
That's right. Numbers never lie. And the truth is painful. And like I commented yesterday, the day before, Graham Souness penned a wonderful article in the Times about a month ago. He absolutely tore Daniel Levy to shreds. He says he's been in charge for 20 years and they've got one League Cup to show for it. And a side that was in the Champions League that has not been invested in and were a shambles. So move on.
Move on. You mentioned Graham Souness there. I'm going to ask Barry because he's a huge Liverpool fan. Known you for many, many years. Tell me, who's your favourite Liverpool player of all time?
That's Kenny Dalglish, without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, there's only one King Kenny. We've been graced with so many fantastic players, and there could be so many. But I think Kenny Dalglish. I remember crying when Kevin Keegan left. As a boy, and then Kenny Dalglish just came along, and I just think, he's to me, he's God. There is just what he'd done for the club over the years as a player, as a manager, and then through the Hillsborough period. And even coming back and still winning a trophy after all the years he was away and steadying the ship. No one's going to overtake Kenny Dalglish.
Can I ask you, Barry, what your over Stanley Park at Everton? They need. Well, there was talk of Rafa. Well, what would have been your thoughts of Rafa Benitez going to Everton?
I've got nothing but love for Rafa. He won us the European Cup. Obviously, it would. I think most Liverpool fans would feel it was a betrayal. I'd just see it a little bit. As long as he never beat us, I don't care. To be quite honest, you know what I mean. If he wants to take, I don't think personally he'll ever go to Everton, but if he went, I'd wish him well because again, he's done fantastic things for the club, and he donated £100,000 to the Hillsborough Memorial. So I've got nothing for them. Like I said, as long as they carry on anything below us, I don't really care.
Yeah.
George, I'm going to ask you. I'm going to spin it for you. I'm going to say because I was thinking about Kevin Keegan going to manage at Sunderland, and I wouldn't be able to accept that. I'd be done with football. So what if I said Harry Kane is off to Arsenal to play? How would you feel about that?
Well, my house is up on a hill, and it's sufficiently high that I can jump off and not survive. I can't see Harry Kane go to Arsenal. He's not like he doesn't have the same DNA as Sol Campbell. There are some things in life you just don't do, right?
I can't see that happening.
Yeah, impossible. I don't see that happening.
I do think.
Go ahead, Barry.
No, I do think he's leaving. I do think he's gone. There's no way he'd leave unless he gets his checkbook out. That Harry Kane's got to win something to be the player of Harry Kane's class. He can't be in the first team that's not competing.
I think the likely destination is Man City, but we'll see.
I hope not.
We'll see.
I hope not. I don't
see him at Liverpool, Barry.
I'd love him at Liverpool, but I just, for well, there's no way the Americans are getting their checkbook out. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the challenge. I think there are only 3 clubs in the Premier League that can afford the price tag that Daniel Levy will want. That's City, Chelsea, and United. I think Chelsea's discounted. Harry wouldn't go there. Yeah. If he goes, I think the likelihood is.
Can United really afford it? I mean, you know what they do. They normally buy a player and then they take a slice of. They get a slice of the pie for themselves as well, don't they?
Yeah.
And they're under massive pressure. I can't see Harry Kane going to play for Ollie. I just don't think it would suit him. I would see him going over to Chelsea. But would that be almost as bad as going?
Nah. He won't go to Chelsea. I don't think so. I think if he goes and it's the Premier League, it will be Man City.
Dale Michaels says Kane's coming to Chelsea. Big shout, that one. Also, Yuki says Barry is charismatic. Well, we know that. Barry, listen, do us a favour. Tell us, because I want to get into the music side of what you do. How did you get into music? And because it's such a journey that you've had, isn't it?
Yeah, no, I mean, like everybody growing up as a kid, I wanted to be a footballer. Thought I was half decent. Started, knocking around the semi-pro teams. Played for Kingstonian for a bit. Got injured. Went off to Ibiza in '87. Got very messy. Didn't go home.
There's a shock.
Yeah. Came back and started like everything, you always think when you're young you're going to carry on being able to play forever. Started running nightclubs, became a DJ, started a band, and before I knew it I was over the hill. And I went to play in a charity game one day, and after about the first 5 minutes I thought, not bad, still got it. Then I went dizzy and had to go in goal. Realised my playing days were over. But luckily enough, I've been fortunate enough to have a very long and enjoyable career in the music industry up until the last year and a half, when obviously COVID's taken that away from me, as it has done for most of the musicians in the UK.
Going back though to the start, Barry, with your music career, how did that kick off? How do you end up in that? I mean, it's everyone's dream. You've just said you want to be a footballer, or if not, you want to be a rock star. You were nearly a footballer, but you are a rock star. So how does that work?
Well, I mean, as I said to you, the reason I sort of kept it and moved it away to football, because obviously it's way too mucky to talk about on this show. How I actually got involved, with sex, and it just became, it was more chance than planning. It just didn't happen. And the Happy Mondays came along, and I thought, well, if they can be a band, then I'm going to have a go. And we weren't very good in the beginning, and it just grew and grew and grew. And I don't know. I really don't know. I mean, one day I was broke. I didn't have any money, and we got a phone call from Jimmy Irvine, who signed Death Row Records, and he said he'd just heard this record we'd made with Planet Asia, and it was the best thing he'd heard in years. And next thing, I was on the plane to America to sign a $1.5 million deal. I went a year and a half later, and I'd spent a lot, but at the time, it was great.
Yeah. Good job.
I mean, it's absolutely fantastic story, but I mean,
it's a great experience.
You talk about.
We got a documentary coming out called "What Could Possibly Go Wrong," the history of the Dub Pistols, and it's just everything. It's the story of every rock and roll band. What goes up must come down, and really does come down badly.
Yeah, the highs are highs and the lows are lows, right,
yeah,
Barry?
Like anything in life, And then you've got to learn your lessons, pick yourself up, and come again. Which, but luckily now we're kind of more like a cult band than a band that's trying to break through. We've got a very loyal fan base, which I'm very grateful to.
Your loyal fan base, I wanted to touch on that because literally when you tour all over the world, I speak to Barry most weeks. We stay in touch. We touch base, but festivals are everything to you, aren't they? So currently, at the moment, it's an absolute nightmare.
Well, I mean, I was stuck in Panama. Not stuck in Panama because I was having a great time. I was in the middle of the rainforest in Panama, and the military turned up and shut down and turned up with big guns and sort of said, like, that's it, we've got to shut the festival down because of this COVID thing. And I'd just been traveling from New Zealand, so I was sort of aware of it. And the promoter turned around to me and said, no, they're just looking for some payola. It'll be back on in a minute. And the sound system did start up, but I just had an idea. I just had that little niggling doubt in my head, and I managed to get a taxi out of the rainforest to the airport and got the last flight home. And that was March last year, so we haven't done a show since. It's just been it's an already. Boris Johnson's about to make an announcement today and let us know that we're going to go back into another 4 weeks, and that's caused a massive problem. But, the industry's on its knees. And there's a load of festivals that were planned to go ahead, and they're going to absolutely lose millions.
Yeah, and it's not just the money, but it's so draining for the people.
Yeah,
right.
So that's it.
It must be difficult for you, Barry, because you enjoy making a difference for people, giving the shows, right? Playing live is a wonderful thing because you give the love and they love it, right? But on the people themselves, it's another 4 weeks now, right? I mean, they must be beat up, man, right?
It's heartbreaking, and I mean, for so many musicians now, because the music industry is fundamentally broken in terms of Spotify and streaming and playlists. So most musicians tend to make their money now from touring, and obviously to lose that lively stream, and not just the musicians either. It's the whole support industry and network. Yeah. For every one musician that's on stage, there's 10 people around that crew wise that are also out of work, and so. It's not again, and it's all of the arts, the theatres, everybody, the wedding venues, you name it. It's just an absolute shambles, and very, very little support come from our government.
Yeah. When do we think this is going to change, guys? When is it we're going to have free reign to have normality and free living again? Fun living. How far are we? A month away? Are we a year away? I mean, is it?
Well, they're talking now 4 weeks. I've got my own festival. Not only do I perform at festivals, but I run a festival called Mucky Weekender, which is in September, and we had to cancel that last year, and that cost us an arm and a leg. But we're in full sort of, planning for it to go ahead. But again, should the government change their mind, then it will be absolutely catastrophic for us.
Where is that festival in September, Barry?
It's in a place called Vicarage Farm in Winchester. It's got like Gentleman's Dub Club. Bez from the Happy Mondays has got an acid house party. We've got Tom Finley from Groove Armada, Skill Freestylers, Ragga Twins. It's honestly the lineup is phenomenal.
George, we're going over.
Sounds fantastic.
Lucky Weekender.
Yeah,
can we do a live Hollywood Balls from there, Baz?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen, George just touched on something, and it's really important. He said that, not only does it affect the fans, but it affects you guys, and I know from you how well, not annoyed, but just sort of frustrated you are. But you've thrown yourself into a great charity. Can you tell us a little bit about it, Tonic?
Yeah, I'm patron for Tonic Music for Mental Health, which has got myself, Terry Hall from the Specials, and various other musicians and things, and they do amazing work, supporting mental health through the recovery through music. But they've also set up a thing which I do a wing walk. Last year we raised about 60,000. I think this year we've got 40 wing walkers, and we're aiming to raise about £80,000. And that's enabled us. And first of all, wasn't sure that I wanted to do it for the industry, but having spoken to so many of my friends, and and they've been really struggling mentally this year because of losing their work, losing their identity, losing their just been heartbreaking. So they do workshops, online peer groups, which are all of these sort of things, suicide prevention groups. It's just the charity really is outstanding, and it's an honour to be part of them.
Barry's Flying Circus, right?
Yeah, Barry Ashworth's Flying Circus.
Absolutely. George, are you up for a bit of that wing walking?
Yeah.
See yourself on a plane?
Barry, if you don't mind, I'll ask Pete to introduce us on email.
Yeah.
Because maybe there's something we can help with on the charity. You never know.
Well, that would be fantastic. The thing is, another member of the Dub Pistols, Shawnee T, has set up a charity football match down at Tunbridge Angels. I think Shawnee's at Shawnee TFC or something, and we're doing he's even got me putting my boots back on, but I think I need a bell in the ball now because I can't see a thing anymore. He wrote me into that, and he's got I think he's got some of the Bournemouth players, some of the Brentford players. He's got various different artists. So it'd be lovely if you could get involved in the way of helping out down there.
Okay. There's also a bit more as well, Barry. I mean, I was looking this week. There's a choir. The Tonic choir is absolutely fun. It looks phenomenal.
There's a ska choir. There's a punk choir. There's just so many different workshops that they do. Writing workshops, and I've met a lot of the people that have gone for this. And they got saved my life. I mean, the power of music is just incredible. It's so uplifting. It's so it's emotions that just go with it. And if you're in a whole group singing together, it just will lift your spirits. And just talking to these people. And they've literally, thank you, Barry, you've saved my life. And if you can save one person's life, then the whole thing's worth it.
Absolutely.
Great story for you, Barry, is that music I love was Tony Hadley. And I was lucky enough to have him on the show. And then literally, George tells me a couple of days later, a throwaway comment from our George. Oh, yeah, I went to school with him.
Well, we're in the same we're in the same class. Yeah. Tony and I in the same class. Gary Kemp in the same year. Yeah.
All the Cockney celebrities together.
Well,
and our George as well.
After that, it was great people. They're great. And it's funny. I nearly said they're great kids. We're all great kids. I still feel like when I grow up, I'm going to play for Spurs. It's terrible,
never grown up.
Yeah, it's what keeps us young,
Yeah, I'm gonna bring you both back to the football. I want to know, because obviously we've got such a busy week this week coming up. I've got my Geordie boys on tomorrow night. Barry Lee Clark and Alan Thompson are joining me for a Geordie reunion. That's going to be a quiet affair. But we're looking at Scotland and England, because obviously Tomo played up in for Celtic. Great player. Can they do it? Can England win the Euros?
Yeah, I don't see why not. I think we've got the team. I think Italy are obviously strong. We haven't seen France yet, and Spain again tonight, obviously. But I don't see why we can't do it. I mean, if the games are at Wembley, and if the boys, if we get it right, then there's no reason why not. We've certainly got talent in the squad.
George?
I think the boys can do it. I think you can win. They need to get some more momentum. The win was important. I didn't think the performance was that great. Doesn't matter. They got 3 points.
Can I ask you though? You say that momentum. How? I mean, I agree, totally agree. But what I mean is, how can he do that? What can he bring in?
Well,
is it an extra dynamic?
So it's not so much about team selections, right? You ask 3 different people about the team selections, and you get 4 different answers, right?
Yeah.
I keep referring to the Italy game. Every Italian player knew exactly what they were doing, when they were doing it. They were always playing blindfolded. They were amazing. It was almost like total football back in the days with the Dutch team, right?
Yeah.
You can tell that performance gives you the impression they have rhythm, they have momentum, they know what they're doing. It wasn't quite so free-flowing at England, right? That's why I say I think there is pressure on Gareth Southgate. He's got to get a free-flowing, moving, and he can. England's players are better than Italy's players, in my opinion. So it's not about ability, right?
George, what do you think of Southgate as a manager?
I would not have him as an England manager. I would not.
For me, the other day as well, and I really thought the game went on, and it was obviously really hot. I just thought, why is he not making any changes? Why is he not? It's like this is a.
Listen, being a manager must be the hardest job in the world, right?
Unless you're winning.
Next to my wife, because she has the hardest job being my wife, right? Poor thing. But
she's left us.
She's well away.
I'll find her after the Euro somewhere. I just Gareth Southgate, wonderful human being. That's plainly obvious. Wonderful values, great guy. I don't think. I want to say I don't think he's a winner. I just don't think he's a winner.
Who would you have? Who would you have put in?
Great question.
Yeah,
great question.
I can't answer that either.
That is a great question. Give me a couple of minutes. I'll give you responses on that.
Who do you have, Barry?
I mean Jurgen, but obviously I know.
yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you want to stay English or you want to bring in a.
Well, listen. It's interesting when it comes to the, I'll give you an analogy. Look at Belgium. Martinez is a manager. Martinez didn't quite cut it as a Premier League club manager. When you're managing a nation that has incredibly wonderful, skillful players, a lot of them, a lot of talent, maybe you can pull it off. So I don't know. I don't know. There's not
a lot of options, is there?
No, there isn't. I would choose a more progressive type of manager. Maybe, although he didn't do great at Bournemouth. What's his name?
Eddie Howe.
Maybe I'll give it. That's one person I would have thought of.
Yeah, maybe Eddie Howe. I'll give a go. Maybe someone like that.
I'm going to say, because I'm biased, and he was on the show last night, and he was brilliant. That it's a real shame that Big Sam is not there. I can see Barry.
And Sam would have done.
He spoke so well last night.
Yeah.
He said it. He told it like it was last night, Barry. We asked him. We put Sam on the spot. He answered football questions from the top level, and at the end of the day, he is top level. He was a great guest. We loved having him on Hollywood Balls. Big Sam for me. Getting lots of comments in for you, Barry. Question is, can we get you to join our TFC community? Everyone's asking for Barry to come in, so put you straight on the spot. Are you going to join TFC tonight?
Absolutely. Why not?
Lovely.
There you go. So Barry's in. Fantastic. Just want to touch on Premier League for next season. We're talking Euro 2020, which is a nightmare when you're in 2021. But I'm looking at the Premier League next season, Barry. What happens and where do your team go, Liverpool?
We go top if we get our team back fit, without a shadow of a doubt. I don't think City were that impressive. I thought that I don't think anybody was that impressive this year. And obviously they've lost some key players. I think if we get Van Dijk back, our back four sorted out again, Henderson back fit. We've got an amazing strike force. I think Jota's just outstanding. I think he could end up showing everybody else up out of our team, which is class. I think we're going to be up there. We just, we really need to just get the team back fit. Whether or not we're going to get any more market signings, I doubt it. But I think we have got enough in the squad, should we get them fit, to be competing.
Great commitment from Van Dijk as well, because he literally wants to get ready for Liverpool. He wants to be back at it, doesn't he? That was it was very evident.
I think it would have been. I think it would have been a bit of a shocker if he'd have gone to the Euros having not played. Henderson's limped over the line and he's on the bench. I don't think it would have been really a strong look if he'd have gone over having not kicked a ball for the whole season.
I think next season it's between Liverpool, Chelsea, and City. I think under TT, Chelsea are a different proposition.
He's coming great, isn't he? They really brought themselves in a good man. He's very much in a sort of Klopp mode. The way that he sets his teams up, the way that he conducts himself. I think they, I think they definitely brought him at the right time.
His communication as well, though, guys. He's brilliant with the media. When he first came over, I was like, wasn't too sure, but he has a smile, he has a laugh. A bit for me, like Jurgen Klopp. I love to listen to Jurgen Klopp, and there's days where you just think he's having a bad day at the office, and you can see that the last thing he wants to do is to go out and comment on why Liverpool didn't win or they got beat six times at home in a row. But he goes out and he does it, and I think Thomas Tuchel's the same. Yeah,
he's great with the media, but I think a Chelsea fan would prefer the fact that he's great with the players. The togetherness of the players. You look at the Chelsea goalie Kepa, who under Frank didn't enjoy a great time under Frank Lampard. Even under TT, he's not the first choice. You can see from his body language he feels loved and part of the team, right? So TT is a great man manager. That's very obvious. And nowadays, that's one of the biggest challenges that managers have. Jose Mourinho, the special one. Every club he goes to, he alienates players, right?
He does, totally.
There was the recent comment while he was a Spurs manager. The interviewer said to him, it's Jose Mourinho. You go 1-0 up and you lose. And he said, the same coach, different players, right? That turns players off nowadays.
He's very quick to throw his team under a bus, isn't he? Where any manager takes the blame. You look at Klopp and he always takes responsibility. Win or lose, and you can see that the way that the Liverpool players react or had reacted for him in the past. You see the way. There's something feels wrong about something felt wrong halfway through the season with Mane and Salah. I don't know whether there's something going on there, but apart from that, you can say that Klopp gets the absolute.
Yeah, but Klopp is a class act because I lost count the number of times he said it's down to me. The players are great. They haven't changed. I've got to get it right. He put the pressure on him and he deflected it from the players. That's what a great coach does, right? That's what a great man manager does, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Fergie's fantastic at that as well, wasn't he? I mean, it was a bit more terrifying, but I mean, I really didn't realise until I read all Klopp's biographies or anything. But I thought he was more of initially, this was my first thoughts on him, was he was more of a sort of cheerleader and got everyone up with his enthusiasm. But having read everything about him and watched him and studied him over the years, you realise he's far more tactical and far more clever a manager than I ever give him credit for.
He's actually he's more of a deep thinker than people give him credit for.
Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Yeah,
totally. Really listen, we've got one more code to give you. We've literally got a couple of minutes left. But what I want to do, Barry, is give you the floor to tell us about the festival. Come on, I mean, it's where can we get details for our UK listeners? And because I literally, if I can get a flight across, I'm there.
Wait there.
We're getting the details.
We're getting the details
live on air.
Here we go.
There you go. I should have had it, Brian. Mucky weekender. .co.uk. Like I said, Gentleman's Dub Club, Tom Finley, Bez's Acid House Party, Leroy from the Prodigy, Dawley, Crafty Cats, Freestylers, the Cuban Brothers, Justin Johnson, Terry Farley, Don Left, Fragger Twins, Klaus Blatter. I just don't know, on and on and on and on.
Terry Farley as well, Terry Farley.
Yeah.
And if Leroy's watching, because he watched the first show, I hope he is, Man United fan, isn't he?
Do you know what? I'm not sure.
I think he is.
Is he a Man United fan? I won't hold him against.
I think he's just been cancelled from Mucky Weekend.
Yeah, that's it. I'm sorry.
George is DJing now.
That name off.
So literally, you must have everything crossed. I mean, you must be so excited, but it's one of those, isn't it?
We're nearly sold out already. I think we're going to have like maybe 5,000 people on site this year. It's all looking incredible. I'm just praying, like I said, that we get sorted out. Just the same as we want fans back in the ground. People want to have their weddings, and we want to start getting back to some kind of normality, because it really is. I'm not sure how much more I can take it. I'm going to have to end up needing my own charity's help.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's only you could do that and walk on a plane on a wing. There's loads of people texting in saying, "Can we get a song out of Barry?" And I'm not going to put you through that.
No, I won't put them through that either.
Barry, it's been absolutely brilliant to have you on. What I am going to do, I'm going to play that clip again now, because there's a lot of people that have just come in a bit later. So if you haven't seen Barry before and you want to go and look at the Dub Pistols, just have a little quick listen to this. And Shawnee T on there as well, as we mentioned, who's arranging that charity football game. We're going to get George on that, by the way. So absolutely fantastic. You've had all your codes. Couple of messages before we go, because they all flying in. Love Barry, love Barry, love Barry, love Barry, love Barry. There you go. Barry, I think you're loved.
He's been a hit. Welcome to the TFA family, Barry.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the TFA.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
And last shout, definitely, is it coming home?
Yeah. I'm gonna say yeah. I mean, I wasn't bothered. All I want is my players back home fit.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Our George, Barry Ashworth, massive thanks to you all. Been absolutely brilliant. The codes are out there. Barry's going to be joining TFA. I'll sort that out tonight. That's another person. We've got Big Sam's coming into the TFA community. Rob Lee joined just 24 hours ago, George.
Yeah.
We've got Jack Grealish in there. We've got John McGinn, who had a good game today, by the way. It's a snowball. It's TFA, and it's what we do.
Pete. Yep. Remember to send your love my love to your family, mate.
I will.
Sorry,
they always ask after you.
Yeah.
Will do.
Mate.